For the next part of this assignment, we're going to look at a little bit more detail about what exactly synthesis is and start to figure out how to begin looking at our sources. Really, the activities for today are going to be generating skills in how to track your thoughts as you look at various sources that are looking at a similar topic but may have very different perspectives. It is really important whenever you are working on a synthesis essay that you spend some time simply reviewing and looking over the sources. First of all, to see whether or not they're useful to you, and second of all, to be able to identify what the emerging themes are that the different sources have in common. In something like the AP test, it's true that you might not be able to read each essay very carefully or each text very carefully, but you can at least scan them to start to get a sense of how are they contributing to a conversation and what is that conversation all about. Okay, as you are looking at your synthesis pieces, it's important that you don't just shut down and read just for information, because the synthesis essay is not about just reading for information. It's about you finding connections, unique connections, or important connections among the texts, and it's about you digging deeper. So you might look at things like, what was the historical context that somebody was writing in? How might the identity of the writer or the artist inform what they or how they approach the topic? For instance, when we were looking at that example with John Oliver and Professor Weber, it was important for us to realize that the professor was a black man and therefore had a different perspective and a different experience to bring to a conversation about racial profiling than John Oliver. I like to consider the image of a dinner party as a good image for what your job is as a synthesis essay writer. Consider that you are going to facilitate or host a dinner party, and each of the creators of the text before you gather around that table. What kinds of questions might you ask them, knowing that they each would have something to contribute? And what might each one of them contribute? Finally, what would your takeaway be after you've listened to all of them? What would your independent analysis of that situation be after having heard what each of them might contribute to the conversation? Lastly, let me assure you that synthesis essays really are nothing new. You've been doing them for years. Anytime you've written a compare and contrast essay, done something that is a response to another text, or completed any type of research assignment where you've gone to more than one source for your information, you've really been creating and conducting synthesis. So when we are approaching this, I want you to approach this as a skill that you know, that you're just going to refine and try to bring to the next level.